and then we'll do it.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry for wasting so much. We did not have a right to choose where we lived, freedom of speech or freedom of action. The traffickers had keys to our apartments. They controlled our movement and our travel. We weren't allowed to make friends or to tell anyone anything about ourselves. We had no way to ask for help. This is a quote from Lena, a student from Eastern Europe who came to America to learn English. Little did she know that she, like many others with hopes of traveling to America, would become victims of sex trafficking. Sex trafficking is an epidemic on the rise, and while you may be familiar with the issue, you may not know its severity and how it in fact impacts us in the U.S. Because of this, I would like to spend the next few minutes talking about what sex trafficking is, who it impacts, and how these people are affected. Hopefully with this information, people like Lena will not end up in the situations that they are in. To help people like Lena, one of the first things you should do is understand what sex trafficking is. The Trafficking Victim Protection Act states that sex trafficking is a modern form of slavery in which commercial sex acts are induced by force, fraud, or coercion, or in which the person doing the sex acts is under the age of 18 years. So in general, sex trafficking is when someone is in some way manipulated to do a sexual act in return for something of value. While this help defines what sex trafficking is, it really doesn't help to define how people get into the situation. The National Human Trafficking Resource Center has a list of the common ways that people become sex trafficked. These include promise of a better life in a foreign country, a false marriage proposal leading to bondage, being sold into the sex trade by family, husbands or boyfriends, or by simply being kidnapped by the traffickers. In any way, these all lead to enslavement by the victims. So many people are enslaved this way that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services states that human trafficking is tied with illegal arms as the second largest crime industry in the world and one of the fastest growing. It is growing so fast that UNICEF states that over 800,000 people are trafficked worldwide each year. Of these 800,000, at least 14,500 to 17,500 are estimated to be sex trafficked into the United States each year. In this broad number, it can be seen through this graph that 46% of these people being trafficked go to prostitution or involved in prostitution. Of the people that are being impacted by this, most of them are women or children, even though male can be impacted as well. But most people that are trafficked come from the Asian or Pacific region. This map shows countries that are impacted by sex trafficking. The red countries show the regions in which people are being sex trafficked out of, and the blue shows the region in which people are being sex trafficked into. As you can see, many countries are impacted. But more importantly, the people being impacted are how people are affected by sex trafficking. Most people who get sex trafficked may start out as dancers or strippers, but a lot of this leads into porn and prostitution. Prostitution rings can be found in such places as the streets or in undercover brothels. Through these prostitution rings, the sex traffickers use conditioning to get the victims to do what they want. Conditioning they use involves starvation, confinement, beating, rape, threatening of the family, and forced drug use. Ashley Fremder, the leader of the NDSU chapter of IGM, an organization that is led to help stop sex trafficking, states that these are some of the physical and emotional abuses that the victims go through every day. And even if the victims are someday rescued and are able to escape sex trafficking, they still have to deal with the prolonged physical and emotional abuse. Sex trafficking is something that I will never be able to understand. It surprises me how much people are sex trafficked into the United States and the extent that people will go through to get what they want. I hope that through learning about what sex trafficking is, who it impacts, and the people are affected will help you to have compassion for the people whose lives that it changed forever. I also hope that you will inform others about this tragedy that occurs And if you have any other questions about sex trafficking or know anyone who might have been sex trafficked, please contact the National Human Trafficking Resource Center and stop the statistics from growing.